The warp, even to those who serve the ruinous powers, can be an unfriendly place, even to the chosen of those warp deities, Abaddon the Despoiler. In this case, it's a warp storm that's working against him. But is there a group that can help the creatures of the warp navigate such storms to ensure their smooth travel? Who are they, and what price is asked for their service? Let's begin. Abaddon and a rival are trapped with each other due to a warp storm, and at that moment, unknown vessels of unknown allegiance appear, simply manifesting, and every ship in the fleet begins to report the same phenomenon, a lone warrior appearing upon their command decks. They are not moving, nor speaking, they merely stand there, watching. One approaches Abaddon and his group. Kaon, a psyker formerly of the Thousand Suns and allied to Abaddon, senses one of the warp ghosts approach. He was dead. I thought that at once, as easily as if I had seen decaying flesh or smelt the rotting musk of decomposition. To my sixth sense, he was without a soul, a man disconnected from the mechanisms of life, and yet he walked closer. His armour, the light grey of an overcast sky, tinged by the faintest pale green, his eye lenses red, lit from within. He was no demon. Demons have no souls, yet they are presences in the warp. They are the warp itself, and form writhing, drifting things before my psychic gaze. Yet he was no human. Humans have shining souls, and they are beacons in the warp's tumultuous night. Whatever this warrior was, he walked the line between mortal and immortal, fused with the warp, yet not born from it, saturated by the immaterium, yet not possessed by it. He had a soul. I saw as he drew near, and it was still his own, a weak thing, a dim and shredded light. We see the Loyalist Legion have a similar effect when we're talking about the exorcists who house a demon, and then it's taken out of them, they cast it out. They are less of a souls. Perhaps something similar has gone on here. To carry on with Kaon. What legion or chapter had sired him, I could not say. His armour was of a mark unknown to me then, not even matching the newest suits of a Aquila pattern battleplate I had seen aboard the Black Templar's vessel. This fella names himself Suronis. Kaon senses that this dead thing yet breathes and wonders, had he been one of us before, undergoing these changes? Was he still one of us, but with mutations of the soul that set him apart? The icon on his pauldron was not one I recognised, but it was nevertheless heavy with symbolism. Two skulls set within an 8-spiked disc, one looking to the left, the other to the right. An inscription ringed the staring skulls, cast in dark silver and written in an unfamiliar style of High Gothic. It read, Abisso Ptolemus Animabus Damnatus. The exact translation evaded me, but I could make out its meaning. We bear the souls of the damned through the depths. The rival warlord with Abaddon is Thagus Daravek. Abaddon asks this warp ghost, will you guide us out of this storm? And the warp ghost agrees, for a price. Kaon reads the memory of Ashakai to see the warp ghost ships emerge. I bore witness to his memories, seeing the spectral warships coalesce into being. They took shape on the oculus, at first ghostly and indistinct, becoming the same pale grey-green as Suronos' armour, as they drifted nearer. Imperial ships, but built to patterns I did not recognise. They possessed enough familiar elements to suggest they had been brought into being by standard template construct plans, but not by any that were in use during my years fighting for the Imperium. Like the Black Templar's vessel, these warships were newer than those we sailed aboard. Kaon sees another of this Chaos clan emerge on the Vengeful Spirit, and lets Abaddon know. Suronos speaks. He names his chapter, though each of us heard something different in curiously structured High Gothic. Iasta heard Infernum Ductori, the underworld guides, and Ezekiel heard Umber Larua, the ghosts of the shadows. When Suronos spoke the name, I heard him say Categis Lemura, the storm spirits. Together, we put together a rough low Gothic approximation of their name, the warp ghosts. Suronos told us of his chapter's purpose, that he and his kindred were ferrymen of a kind, guiding vessels through the warp. They would, for a price, guide one of our fleets through the storm and into the narrow channel of calm space that speared through the great eye and led to the Cadian system. He swore in those ceaselessly calm tones that his brothers were born of no legion. He said the same when asked the year of his birth, or the patterns and classes of his small fleet's unknown vessels. Never did he display a loss of patience, nor appear to favour one warlord over the other. Seronos explains the price of their services. The price for guidance out of these tides is for you to discern. You will be judged by what you sacrifice. The Death Guard warlord Davarak spat at the idea. And if we kill you now, if we destroy your fleet, Seronos responded, then we would die. You speak irrelevancies. The Death Guard warlord responded again. How can we trust your word in any of this? And this warp ghost said, nothing I say will alter that choice. You speak irrelevancies, Thagus Davarak. Very well. The Death Guard warlord stepped back, rested his axe on one shoulder, speaking with a confident grin that hid little of his fury. Here is my offer, Ghost. We are listening, said the Grey Warrior. If you require ships for your fleet, I will give them to you, 10, 20, if need be, from my war spoil. I will tear them from the Black Legion and lay them at your feet. If you desire slaves, I will grant you 1,000,000 of them from the holds of Black Legion vessels. More, if that is not enough. 2,000,000, 3. If you want access to my demon forges or armament factories, it can be arranged. And once I claim what is mine by right, if you wish my favour in the future, then it will be yours without question. Then it's Abaddon's time. He first spoke with his brothers. He says he has been thinking on the necessity of sacrifice, that Chaon has already shown he understands this sacrificing his arm. He says that sacrifice will seed into myths and legends. Abaddon says, if someone fights for me, if someone battles beneath my banner as well as his own, he carves the icons of his former life from his battle plate, and he stains his ceramite black. Sacrifices all. Sacrifices made for greater gain. Real sacrifices are fueled by depths of emotion. The warp ghosts accept the offering of Abaddon. Chaon does not yet know what was promised. Their moment of allyship gone, the other warlord goes away and then moves on Abaddon's ships. But the warp ghosts say Abaddon's fleet will be gone before the warband can reach them, so long as they receive their sacrifice. So just to tidy up the narrative for you here, the warlord and his people have gone back to his fleet, and Abaddon and his people have gone back to his fleet, which is why they're now on their respective ships moving towards each other. And it's then he starts to see what it was. Chaon learns the crew on the Vengeful Spirit and other ships are part of the sacrifice. Abaddon had won them to his side by saying they could take anyone they need, and as part of the price they were going to take Ashakai. They needed these people to be more ferrymen and renew their numbers. The Vengeful Spirit's machine spirit protests at the loss of its sorcerer. The warp ghost leader says the payment is due and asks, will they choose to break the pact? A fight is about to break out on both sides until Abaddon speaks, but the machine spirit will not even listen to him. It's only when a psychic message between Ashakai and the machine spirit happens that she steps down. To Chaon, Ashakai was a mentor and one of the founders of the Black Legion, but he is sacrificed. They also take the psycho children of Abaddon's human slaves. And we then learn that the leader of the warp ghosts, Seronos, is in fact Ashakai, there to recruit himself into the ghosts he has never seen before, because there is no time in the warp, there is always now. And so you can cut back and forth through your own timeline, only being touched by the fingers of time when you are in the Materium. And the warp ghosts lead Abaddon's fleet out of the storm, fulfilling their part of the bargain. So now I turn things over to you. What do you think to these sort of Chaos Legion of the Damned style creatures? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and if you like this video on 40k, why not try this one?